This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I include shipping and handling, and I've seen Spaghetter, a short new dark comedy from Jared Lapidus that parodies those TV advertisements for basic household items. You know the ones. Anyways, it specifically looks at the contrast between the two example figures generally used within these ads. The clumsy and oafish man who can barely hold anything without trouble, and the perfect fellow who can use any complicated device with the skill of a natural. As we watch further advertisements, though, we come to see the two not as caricatures, but people with actual lives. And in the case of the first man, his incompetence costs him more than his dignity as a family man, or something like that. The short is still a comedy, so it's not as deep as I'm making it sound. It's also not as completely dark as it might seem to be either. At best, it may be more like an existential horror comedy, though even that makes it sound smarter than it actually is. In any case, what we do get is pretty well developed for what it wants to get across. The movie is pretty simplified and exaggerated, of course, so there are no actual characters to speak of in this, but the events that the clumsy guy goes through do at least feel like they're going through a natural progression, or at least an entertaining one. That said, it doesn't exactly feel as biting as I figure that the filmmakers wanted it to be, in that there's no real subtext or a stronger criticism of infomercial cliches or standards in here. The ending especially seems to want to say something, but it just doesn't stick. Either way, when it comes to technicals, Spaghetter imitates the look of the source material pretty well. The filmmakers try to make it look aged through some effects that sort of emulate a VHS recording, and there are a few other clear changes in cinematography choices and aspect ratio that do add a nice visual touch and help the comedic side of things. It's pretty obvious from the start that color choices are given attention, though not in a greater or meaningful sense, just kinda comparative. The same applies to sound design, sticking to the usual stock music in these sorts of commercials before moving on to tones more appropriate for horror, though they are still stock. Overall, while I would have appreciated something with a bit more depth in its narrative, the short does have some good ideas and makes its point well and clear, and it's pretty funny to boot. Spaghetter, Jared Lapidus, 2022. 3 stars. I'd say that it's fun enough to recommend. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I'd say something about how dumb the actual products being advertised in this short are, but I figure that's the whole point. So I'll just say that I could really go for some spaghetti right about now.